Crohn's disease in youth versus adults by Jonah Markovic-Gagne. This is for Foundations of Training. So first off, what is Crohn's disease? Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease. There are two types. There's ulcerative colitis, which we will not be talking about, and Crohn's disease. This is the inflammation of the GI tract, anywhere from the esophagus to the rectum. The ways that we diagnose Crohn's disease is through an endoscopy, which is a camera down the esophagus, and colonoscopy, which is a camera up the rectum, and then MRIs and x-rays if your doctor requests, things like that. Crohn's disease, meaning that it's chronic. There is no way to get rid of Crohn's disease. There's only ways to slow down the inflammation and slow down any sort of growth in the stomach. Crohn's disease in adults. Crohn's disease in youth. About 80,000 children in the U.S. are diagnosed with some sort of IBD. Half of those being Crohn's disease patients, so approximately 40,000 kids, plus or minus. Crohn's disease is autosomal recessive, meaning that it can get passed down from generation to generation, but you don't know who's going to end up getting it. Crohn's disease will affect three things. Stress is a really, really big one that can cause inflammation and discomfort. Malnutrition is another really, really important one because there will be certain dietary restrictions that you can and cannot have. And then mental health. There's a really big strain on mental health. I personally have Crohn's disease and it has taken a little bit of a toll on my mental health, but there's ways around it to figure it out. Crohn's disease in adults. So Crohn's disease in adults, the adults will typically be diagnosed in their late 20s to early 30s. Approximately 1 in 100 U.S. adults are diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and it's impossible to detect who is going to get it throughout the family tree. That's just how it is. In comparison, so 1 in every 100 adults are diagnosed with Crohn's disease, where there's approximately 40,000 children, so there's 83 times more adults that will be diagnosed with Crohn's disease rather than children. Both of them will be diagnosed the same. There will always be an endoscopy, a colonoscopy, or MRIs and x-rays. That will not change unless there's some scientific breakthrough that we don't know of yet, which is definitely possible. And then symptoms can be monitored and can be different in everyone. Some people, for example, I was not very symptomatic. I did show a lot of signs of it. It was diagnosed in my blood work, essentially. I felt fine, everything is fine, but then I've heard stories of people where they couldn't even stand up because of the pain and the inflammation and all of that. And then these are my references.
We're at 3 minutes.
Oh.